We have a big problem in society. We have been sold a lie and it's led to issues for a lot of people. In this video, we're going to break down what that lie is and what you can do about it. We have been sold the idea our backs are really fragile, which in turn has led us to using our backs much less for things like lifting and just most things generally. How many times have you been told to keep your back straight when lifting something? You know, use your legs, not your back. And this message has been so ingrained in society, it's made us scared to use our backs for anything, which in turn has actually then led to a world of people having weaker backs, which have then become more fragile as a result and more likely to suffer an injury. And now we have a low back pain epidemic. We have spent years as physios helping people with back pain. And when people do get back pain, it then reinforces this idea of fragility and weakness. We want to get people ahead of this to help limit future low back pain, so not having to see someone for it in the first place. We have developed a gym program that has all the exercises needed programmed in to help with this, and we are going to go through some of them in this video. We wanted to make sure we hit all those areas, not just the back, but all the neglected muscles. The link for it is in the description. So where to start with all this? Well, you need to work on strengthening, and we're going to go through how to do that in this video. But you need to build up very slowly if you're not used to it. There will be a certain tolerance and capacity of the back, like any set of muscles. Exceed that, go too hard and too quickly, and it can lead to injury. And this is what happens in most cases with back pain. Because it's used so minimally over years, the capacity and tolerance gets so low that even a normal everyday task could then exceed it, and you end up having a problem. Now, general gym training will target the back, but it's not enough generally. I compare it to the training of the biceps. A lot will say that doing squats and deadlift type movements will help with back strengthening, which is true, and something to keep in if you don't have any problems with them. But the back is working just on stabilizing there and in more of an isometric hold. So if training biceps, for example, it would just be like holding them in an isometric position and just doing that for the training. Definitely better than nothing, but to make it a lot better, you would do curls through range to hit it fully. We basically want to do that for the lower back, and we have 8 exercises you can do in order of difficulty to help with the build-up and how to progress it. Now, I know what people will be saying. Yes, what about the discs? Delicate donuts in between each vertebrae with jam inside ready to spill out with any type of loading. This is half of the problem with the message that's been ingrained. Those discs are more like solid ties with chewing gum in the middle, not delicate. The issue and message came from studies looking at repeated spinal flexion and showing the damage this creates to the discs over time, and that there are only so many cycles of flexion that can be done before your discs explode, and you need to avoid flexion at all costs. The big problem with this though is that it was done with cadavers, so dead people. And well, if you did the same thing with bicep loading, then that tendon would eventually degrade and likely snap, because it's not on living tissue, so there is no adaptation to the loading. But discs, just like anything else, will respond to loading and stresses put on it and get stronger. Yes, that will be slower, like with ligaments and tendons, but it still occurs. And you do have to ensure not fully overloading, as you can then get injured, just like you would anything else. Like if you overload the biceps too much, they could go. There's enough videos out there of that. But in order to build that tolerance and capacity, that's where the exercises come in. So let's get into some. These are in levels, working and focusing on that extension and those strong erector spinae muscles, starting with the lightest and building up to the hardest. Everyone will be at different levels, but start off low and gradually build up over time. Level 1 is the cat-cow. So start on all fours, arch your lower back down and then back up, going into a comfortable range and not forcing anything. Level 2 is a bird dog, staying on all fours, and you can build this through levels also, starting lifting one leg or one arm at a time, and then build to lifting a leg and then the opposite arm, and then switching to the other side. You can progress this further. Rather than putting the hand and the knee back on the floor, bring the elbow and knee together in the middle so it gets more flexion, like the cat-cow, and then going back and straightening them out. Level 3 is swimming. This is the same as the bird dog, except you'll be flat on the floor for this. Make sure you're keeping your head neutral so you're facing the floor. You don't need a massive movement with this to get a good benefit. And I personally don't like going into loads of extension. It just doesn't feel comfortable, and you're not necessarily needing to. Level 4 is a laying extension. This is like the swimming, but this time you raise both arms and legs up together. Level 5 is a Swiss ball extension. So on a Swiss ball, put your feet against the wall so you're not just rolling around. You'll then lower the body down and then lift back up. You can progress this from having your arms crossed at your chest to then putting your hands at your head. Level 6 is using a machine, so a specific back extension machine. Again, you don't need a huge movement with this. A lot of the time, I don't like to go too much into flexion with this as it can feel quite compressive, but that's just a personal preference. You do want some of the movement from flexion into extension though, so you're not just hinging at the hips. And this can be easily progressed by changing the weights, and you can definitely get a pump into the lower back doing this one. Level 7 is hyperextensions, but you'll be doing this focusing the work to be done on the lower back rather than the glutes or the hamstrings. So when doing it, focus on that flexion and extension of the back and not contracting the glutes and hamstrings when doing it. You can progress this again, going from your arms crossed to your chest, putting your hands at your head, and then even further by holding weights, which can be progressed up endlessly. Level 8 is a reverse hyperextension. This is a great exercise for low back strengthening, where you will let the legs swing through and then lift it back up. The benefit of this is as the legs swing through, you'll also be getting some decompression in the back. This again can easily be progressed by adding more weights. Getting back training in is important. The back isn't weak, it's strong and can be made stronger. If you're wanting to know where to add all this into a gym program, then we have done this for you. The link is in the description. And it's not just working the back, but getting a lot of neglected muscles in that have all been added to get a full balance in the body. This is just one of the directions of movements you want for the back. When looking at the back, you also need to be getting other directions. So check out this video here, which focuses on back strength, more for side flexion. And check out this video here if you don't have access to reverse hyperextension but are wanting options for doing it in a normal gym environment.